In the previous video I was talking about different actions that you can do from the bind, from different types of binds according to 133, and I have promised to make one more video only about Mutatio gladii. So we are here now, this is the video, but before I can talk about Mutatio gladii, I have to talk about the play of binder and the bound, because in my interpretation the play of binder and the bound is closely connected to Mutatio gladii. So what is this play about? The manuscript summarizes it in a verse that says something along the lines of, when the binder and the bound are binding, then the bound one, the one who doesn't have the initiative, can flee from the bind at any moment. And if he does, then the binder should immediately follow him. What is it all about? Well, imagine a model situation. We are in the bind, I'm binding my opponent, I am the binder, and I'm binding on above and on the right. And this is the situation from which I should do a rebind according to the priest from 133. Rebind means that I will push the opponent's blade down. And I am pushing the opponent's blade down because I want to reach the lower position. And when we reach the lower position, it is a trigger for shield slug. So when I am binding above and on the right, I should do a rebind and then kill the opponent with shield slug. Now the opponent knows about it because, of course, he doesn't want to get to the lower position when I will kill him with shield slug. So what he can do? He can't overpower me because the beginning of rebind was for me to gain the strength in the bind. So when I'm doing my rebind, I already have the leverage. So I can overpower the opponent and he cannot stop me from doing this. So he cannot use power, but what he could do is to just disengage. He doesn't have to take part in my binding, in my rebind. He can just put his sword away and flee. And in this situation, I won't be able to reach the position that will be the trigger for the shield slug. So this seems like an action that would save the opponent. But here comes the play of the binder and the bound. Because the play of the binder and the bound tells me that if the opponent flees, then I should follow him. And this follow, in fact, means stab him in the face. This is not said in the manuscript, but we have some images of ending position of this binder and the bound play. And it is clearly visible from them that the thrust to the face is exactly what should end this play. So when the opponent starts fleeing from the bind, I should immediately go forward as a binder, go forward and hit him with a thrust. So I am binding above and on the right, and I am doing what I should do. I am doing a rebind, which is pushing my opponent's blade down. Now, during the rebind, I should feel a counter pressure from the opponent because I am overpowering him. He cannot resist because I am strong in the bind, I have the leverage, but I should feel that he is giving me some counter pressure. As soon as I feel that the counter pressure is missing, I should immediately go forward, both shield and sword. And I can do it because at the very moment when I feel that the counter pressure is missing, it is the point when the opponent is putting his sword away, and that is the point when he is not threatening me. So I am safe to go forward. And what more, if he is no longer touching my blade, he cannot feel what I am doing, which means that the reaction of the opponent will be based only on what he sees, not on what he feels, and this reaction is slower. So if he starts putting his sword away, for me, this is a great position to attack. So I'm binding above and on the right, and I am starting to do my rebind. While I am doing the rebind, I am already like set mentally on the follow-up, and the follow-up will be shield and sword forward. So I am doing my rebind, but I am set on the thrust, and I am only waiting for the trigger. And the trigger will be when I feel the counter pressure is lost. I immediately, this is the trigger for me. I go forward, shield and sword. If I never lose the counter pressure, then I will get to the lower position, and this is another trigger. This is the second trigger, and I will do the same thing, but this time it will be shield slug. But it is still the same thing, shield forward, sword forward. So I am like set mentally on doing this, and I'm only waiting for the correct trigger. The important thing is that the binder who is doing the rebind must not be too eager to go forward with the thrust. If he goes for the thrust while she in this case she still feels the counter pressure from me, it means that I will be able to react, to feel what she is doing, and I will defend with my sword. So if she goes forward too early, I will be able to defend. And what more, if I am trained by the priest from 133, then this is the trigger for my grapple play, like this. So the binder has really to be triggered only by losing the counter pressure, because if he goes forward while the counter pressure is still there, he would be vulnerable by the grapple play. It would seem that if I start doing my rebind, then my opponent is already lost, because if he stays in the bind, then I will push him to the bottom position and then kill him with shield slug. And if he tries to flee, then I will kill him immediately with the play of the binder and the bound. But here comes Mutatio gladii. That is exactly the technique that is designed to solve this situation. I have shown my interpretation of Mutatio gladii in the previous video already. In my interpretation, this is a small circle of the blade from this to this. I am leaving the bottom position of the bind, and I am returning back from the above position. On YouTube, you will be able to find several different interpretations of Mutatio gladii, but I believe this interpretation fits best the images that we are given by the manuscript. You can clearly see from the images that we should start with the shield above or like facing the viewer, and we should end with hands crossed, and with the shield either like this or facing down like this, because these two positions cannot be distinguished by the images. In my interpretation, I believe the correct position is shield facing down, because it has a reason. So this small circle of the blade is my interpretation of Mutatio gladii, and the idea is that I want to leave the bottom position when my blade is below the opponent's blade, and I want to get above his blade. This is a thing that would protect me from shield slug, because if I have my sword over the opponent's sword, then the opponent can still do a shield slug. He can hit my hands, but he won't be able to then thrust me in the face, because my sword is over his sword and he can't go directly for my head. So the shield slug, he can do a shield slug, but he cannot then kill me, so I have time to retreat or whatever. So the Mutatio gladii would be a simple way to escape the undesirable position for a better one that protects me from shield slug. So it looks easy and it looks simple, but it is not simple at all. So the important thing is that when I start doing my mutatio gladii like this, I am leaving the bind, which means that my opponent is no longer feeling the counter pressure from me, and this should be the trigger for him to go for the thrust according to the play of the binder and the bound. So theoretically, when doing mutatio gladii, when I start doing it, I should get immediately stabbed to the face. But I won't, because mutatio gladii is specifically designed to solve this problem. So the first thing is that the whole action of mutatio gladii is just very small and very fast. I am doing just this simple switch from bottom to above. So, and I am returning back to control of the opponent blade. So if the opponent is to thrust me, he has to do it before I am able to get the control again. So I am putting like a strict time limit on his action. He still can stab me, it is very fast, but he has to do it immediately and has to react very quickly. Now, when I have left the bind, I am immediately turning my shield to the final position, which is, in my interpretation, the shield facing down. And I am doing it because I want to put an obstacle for the opponent's blade, so that if he goes directly for my head, he will be blocked by my shield. He still can hit my head, but he has to go around the shield, which means that he needs more time. So if he wants to go for my head, he needs to go around. Third thing, which is not mentioned in 133, is that I should add a step back. So when I start doing mutatio gladii, I am going back. This is not in the manuscript because the manuscript does not talk about footwork almost at all, but I believe it has to be there because I have tried it and, well, it works the best. I want to put more space between me and my opponent because this, again, requires more time from him. He needs more time to reach me because I'm farther. So I am making his thrust slow. And he should not be able to hit me before I finish my mutatio gladii and again gain control. And the last insurance that is there is that I am not returning softly, but I am returning with a beat. I am beating the opponent's blade down. So the whole mutatio gladii would look like this. And I'm doing it because if the opponent was able to reach very close to my body during mutatio gladii, I am still, it doesn't matter, I am still able to beat him down and return his blade again down so that it doesn't threaten me. So there are like several insurances that make sure that I can make this escape, this retreat or this switch safely. And you can see why 133 prefers binding positions above, and it says that binding above is better than binding below, because binding below leads to mutatio gladii, not always, but often. And mutatio gladii is a technique that can solve the situation, and usually it would work, but it is risky. It is risky because you are discarding the control of the opponent, and you are trying to get in control in better position later. So you are like letting the opponent loose, and you bet on that you will be able to gather the control before he can do something nasty to you. So this is a risky thing. Certainly it can be done and it would work. If everything works, then the mutatio gladii will succeed. So it is good to know it, and well, it is a good technique, but still there is a risk. So if you don't have to go into this risk, then it is better to not go there. It is important to say that the whole action doesn't end with successful mutatio gladii. because if I do the successful mutatio gladii, I am binding above and on the left, and I am pushing the opponent's blade down. And in the previous video I have already talked about this position. This position is vulnerable against the Stichschlag. So if I end my mutatio gladii and just wait there, it means that the opponent will be able to kill me by Stichschlag. So very early in the manuscript, we are given a follow-up for mutatio gladii. After successful mutatio gladii, I should immediately go for Nucken aimed between the hands of the opponent, like this. Nucken is probably a false edge cut, but it should go between the sword and shield, like this. Why it is there? Well, because the mutatio gladii is ending with a beat, I am probably making a space between the hands. So it is very possible that the space will be there and the opponent would be vulnerable here. And what more, if the opponent starts to go for the Stichschlag, he is separating hands by himself. So I can now go between the hands very easily. I don't have the need to make the space between the opponent's hands by the beat. It still can appear just because the opponent wants to kill me by Stichschlag. This does not have to succeed, because if the opponent fails to do anything, then my Nucken will just hit his shield. I may fail to make a space and the opponent won't go for Stichschlag, so I will just hit his shield. But it doesn't matter, because if I hit the opponent's shield, it means that the opponent is not doing a Stichschlag. So I am safe and I can, well, maybe somehow follow, or I can retreat or whatever. But if the opponent, I know that in the end of mutatio gladii, I am vulnerable to Stichschlag, so I have to immediately attack, just for the case that the opponent knows it and can do Stichschlag and hit me. So this will protect me. So the whole mutatio gladii is this small circle. Get again back to the control of the opponent's blade and immediately go for the Nucken. Because if you don't do this, if you don't do the Nucken, then you can be harmed by the Stichschlag. So there are several points in mutatio gladii that can go wrong. So the whole action is risky, and this is certainly a technique that has to be trained a lot. So this is my take on mutatio gladii, and well, that's it.